What is up, people, and welcome back to part 47 of my F1 2016 career mode here at the Spanish Grand Prix. If you missed Season 1, Season 2, and the first 4 rounds of this third season, then you can go click the little card annotation in the top right hand corner of your screens to go catch up with everything that has happened over this career mode so far. Today's race brings us to the Spanish Grand Prix, which is probably my least favourite circuit on the grid. I like the track and I like the layout of it, I enjoy racing around it, but I just can't seem to get any decent results around it. Season 1, 22nd position. Yes, we did have a crash with Danny Kvyat that caused us to be at the back of the field, and we made a bad decision going onto those hard tyres, but I just didn't feel like I was quick enough there. Season 2, I crashed out, unfortunately, just lost the back end on the exit of turn 4, and unfortunately put my car into the wall, and that was the end of my race. So we're going to try and do better here today, but something tells me that it's just not going to happen. But I will still try. You know, I never give up, and I always try and give 110%. So that's what we're going to do here today at the Spanish Grand Prix. Try and do our best and try and get a decent result in today's race. So without any further ado, let's head over to the race weekend for the Spanish Grand Prix. Practice for the Spanish Grand Prix was a very, very difficult one. It wasn't like the previous race weekends where we managed to do the track acclimatization and the tyre wear management. We did manage to do the track acclimatization. Here we are, just coming round the final couple of corners now through the final corner down towards the line, and it was good enough for a purple score, which means we do get a lot of resource points because of that. But unfortunately, we could not do the same thing in the tyre wear management. You know you are bad at a circuit when you can't even get the green score on a tyre wear management test around the Spanish Grand Prix. So I'm really, really disappointed by that. And in practice 2, we unfortunately could not do the qualifying objective either. So that's not exactly setting us up well for this race weekend. I'm not expecting great results here. It is a downforce dependent circuit, and that is something that the Force India car definitely does struggle on. We have already upgraded the downforce 1, but it's just not good enough to compete at a circuit like the Spanish Grand Prix. So we're down in 22nd position. Hopefully we can do better than that in the qualifying session, but we're just going to have to wait and see as we head over to qualifying. Here we are then, qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix, and our expectations for today's session aren't exactly high. We did not do well in the practice session, so I'm not too sure how qualifying is going to go. Hopefully we can get out of Q1, but I won't be at all surprised if we can't even manage that. I mean, we've had it in circuits before, like the Chinese Grand Prix, and towards the end of last season, where we struggled to get out of Q1. And I think that could be the possibility here today. We will try our best to try and get out of Q1 into Q2, and then try and see what we do from there. But if we do get into Q2, it won't be a qualifying free session for us here today. I think it's just going to be at max maybe about 13th position if we can absolutely nail the circuit. But let's head out on track and see what we can do. Right then, first lap here in the Spanish Grand Prix qualifying session, round the final corner, down towards the line, and was the time good enough for it? Say 1:22.846, much better than what we set in the practice sessions as we come around the final corner once again for our second lap here in qualifying. 4 tenths quicker at the moment as we come across the line. It is 4 tenths quicker, and that is a 1:22.4, which puts us up into 12th position at the moment in qualifying, but only better than Marcus Ericsson, I believe. Yes, 22nd position at the moment here in qualifying, but lap 3, 8 tenths faster than our previous best lap time across the line. And what is the lap time good enough for? Is it good enough to get into Q2? No, it is not. It's only good enough for 19th position. We do improve, but only by 3 positions up into 19th. And once again, we are out of qualifying 1, having to start our race right at the back of the field down in 19th place. Luckily for Force India, Nico Hulkenberg does manage to make it through, but I won't be at all surprised if he comes in the lower section of Q2. So we have a lot to do in tomorrow's race for the Spanish Grand Prix. We need to make loads of overtakes at the start of the race, try and get track position, and then really see what we can do there. Maybe try and avoid the hard tyres because we know they were bad after Season 1. So I'm not too sure whether I want to use those tyres, but it's going to be a difficult one, but hopefully we can score some points. If we can get like 1 or 2 points in today's race, I will be very, very happy indeed. But without any further ado, it's time to head over to the race for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's race day here at the circuits of Barcelona, Catalonia for today's Spanish Grand Prix. Yesterday's qualifying session didn't exactly go to plan as we start right down at the back of the field in 19th position. But it does mean that we're going to be making loads of overtakes in today's race as we try and make our way back up through the field. The Spanish Grand Prix isn't a good track for us. It is definitely a bogey track for us, you know, getting 22nd in both seasons so far. So we'll be hoping to improve on that here today. Looking at the driver standings going into today's race, Carlos Sainz has a huge gap of 30 points over his closest rival, which are Danny Kvyat and Kevin Magnussen, who both have 50 points apiece. So looking at the Constructors' Championship, Toro Rosso are absolutely dominating that one as well. And there is our man Carlos Sainz lining up in pole position, which I think Danny Kvyat might be alongside him in second place. There's Roman Grosjean on the grid as well. But in terms of our race, we need to make sure that we have a good strategy. Starting from 19th on the grid, we need to make sure we have a good strategy, try and get as many overtakes as we possibly can in the first couple of laps, and really see from there what we can do. It might have to be a case of backing up the rest of the pack. The race strategy that they want me to go for at the moment is starting on the mediums and then pitting for the hards halfway through the race. But I'm not too sure whether those medium tyres will actually last that long in the race. We're just going to have to wait and see. But we're deciding to change it. We're deciding to go for the softs at the start, 2 sets of medium. So we're going to see how this one goes for us as we're getting away for the formation lap for today's Spanish Grand Prix. In terms of race strategy, I think the soft tyres at the start would definitely be a good call. Try and get as many overtakes as we possibly can at the start on the better tyre. And then the only problem is that we won't have track position because we'll be coming in earlier than a few of the guys like Daniel Ricciardo, who is currently on the hard tyres right now. But here we are for the start of the Spanish Grand Prix. The lights coming on. It's 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a good start compared to the Red Bull driver of Daniel Ricciardo, but then we have nowhere to go with Valtteri Bottas, Max Verstappen, Pascal Wehrlein, Rio Haryanto, and Esteban Gutierrez all close together going down in towards turn 1. So we have to brake a little bit early going into this next corner. So we get a little tap there from Max Verstappen going in towards turn 1, side by side with Valtteri Bottas at the moment. Nico Hülkenberg ahead of us. Looks like Valtteri Bottas went for a spin into turn 3. There was no contact between him and myself, so it must have been with Esteban Gutierrez, who was behind him, and virtual safety car is deployed very, very early on in today's race, so we won't have a chance to go for an overtake on Nico Hülkenberg just yet. We're just going to have to wait a little bit later on in this race, but unfortunately that is going to hurt us quite a bit because we wanted to make as many overtakes as we possibly can at the start. Let's have a look at a replay though of what happened at the start of today's race. So watching on board with the Williams of Valtteri Bottas, there he is on the right, going down in towards turn 1. Everything seems okay at the moment. Max Verstappen has a little bit of contact with Rio Haryanto going down in towards turn 1. Still watching. Oh, there's the hassle of Esteban Gutierrez getting off the track. And there's a little bit of contact between the two of them. Valtteri Bottas, no damage for his car, so he will be able to carry on like nothing has happened at all. With his virtual safety car, it's going to neutralise the whole track. So luckily for him, he won't be overtaken from anybody else behind him, but he does lose out a lot of ground to myself. Let's have a look on board with Esteban Gutierrez to see exactly what happened to him. So here we are going down in towards turn 1. It's not the best to start from the house drive. He gets overtaken by my teammate Nico Hülkenberg and gets involved in the pack of Rio Haryanto, Max Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, myself, and the other manner of Pascal Wehrlein, which I think I already said. Going in towards the left-hander though, side by side with Valtteri Bottas, just gets a little bit of contact there through turn 2, pushes him off the circuit. And as he tries to come back on, Valtteri Bottas is there. He has nowhere to go. And unfortunately just makes contact with the Williams driver, putting him into a spin and bringing out the virtual safety cars. So nothing really major happening down towards turn 1. No huge crashes like we saw at the Russian Grand Prix. Unfortunately, none of that's here today so far. But virtual safety car is ending. Well, it's ended. And we're now behind Nico Hülkenberg at the start of lap 2. Right on his gearbox, in fact, going through turn 1 and turn 2. So very nice to stay out of the back of him through there. Going down in towards turn 4 now. What can we do on Nico Hülkenberg? Will we have a look up the inside? We do have a look up the inside of our teammate as we go purple through sector 1. There's nothing really to look at into that as it is only the second lap. Still side by side though with Nico Hülkenberg as we try around the outside in towards turn 5. Still side by side between the two teammates. Who's going to come out on top in the battle of the two Force India drivers side by side? And there we go, going into this fast right-hander. We get the job done on Nico Hülkenberg. Move up into P11 and now hunt down Fernando Alonso for No, I think we're in P12. We're hunting down Fernando Alonso for P11. Then it's Jenson Button ahead of him, who's currently in P10. So we need to try and catch up to Fernando Alonso and maybe try and get to him as soon as we possibly can, because we're on these soft tyres, but they are going to start to come away from us while all the other guys ahead of us are on like the hards and the mediums. So we do need to be aware of the race strategies that those guys are going for. Although Alonso is also on the soft tyres, so we're going to have a bit of a race with him right now. It just depends whether we are quick enough on these soft tyres, but I just don't think we are. in terms of race pace, but it's at the start of the race, and the AI aren't exactly quickest at this stage of the race. We're going down in towards turn 1. We have the slipstream on Fernando Alonso. Looks like we're a lot quicker than the McLaren in a straight line, and it's a fairly easy move down towards turn 1. Running it a little bit too deep, but that's not a chance for Fernando Alonso to come back at us, and we're up into P11, hunting down a points position of Jenson Button, who is in P10. Here we are then, cutting ahead to lap 5 in this race. Unfortunately, not being able to catch up to Jenson Button. He's actually got away from us quite a bit as we're on board with Nico Hulkenberg, our teammate, going through the final corner right now. Right to the back of us as we run it wide in towards the final corner. Down the start-finish straight, Nico Hulkenberg does have DRS. Looks like Fernando Alonso has come into the pits on this lap, and it's side-by-side with Nico Hulkenberg, but unfortunately for us, he decides to back out for it and not go for the move for position there. But going through turn 3, no cutting to lap 7 right now, as a couple of drivers are coming into the pits. Looks like the 3 leaders are coming into the pits at the moment. There we are, bumping up into the lead of the race. We've actually led 4 of the 5 races this season, which is pretty good for a Force India, especially as we're trying the same sort of strategy as the leaders, maybe taking these soft tyres a little bit longer. What my plan is to try and take these soft tyres for as long as possible, go on to a set of mediums, and then go on to a set of softs at the end of the race as well. So it looks like Esteban Gutierrez having a little look down in towards the hairpin. We run it wide though. That allows Esteban to have a chance up the inside in towards this next corner. Looks like he's got the job done on the left-hander. And there he goes. Esteban Gutierrez unfortunately losing out position to the Haas driver, who gets himself up into the lead of the race. Now Valtteri Bottas is looking to get involved with the action as well, hunting P2 from myself on lap 10 of this race. Can Valtteri Bottas get past us down into the hairpin just like Esteban Gutierrez did? He's going to try it down in towards hairpin. We do a little bit of a cut, but we break early, try and get the switch back on him, which we do side by side with Valtteri Bottas. And there we go, great move on the Williams drive to get back up into P2, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough to close in on Esteban Gutierrez, and Valtteri Bottas just having to settle for P3 for the time being. But I believe I'm going to be coming into the pits on this lap, because I feel like these soft tyres have definitely started to come away from us. And here we go, coming into pits for our first pit stop in this Spanish Grand Prix, to make sure that we do brake before the line, locking up the tyres quite a bit, but getting the car stopped very comfortably before the pit line. So nice and tidy there as we come in for our first pit stop in this race. We will need a good pit stop here from the Force India boys. Unfortunately, I do think that we're going to be down at the back of the field because we were taking these tyres maybe a bit too long. It bunched up quite a lot of the field. So, unfortunately, we have lost out a lot of ground. But we're only doing the same stops as everybody else. So, a lot of other drivers do have to make another pit stop. And we will be quicker at the end of the race because we're on those soft tyres. So, this race could still happen. We could still get something decent from this race. If a safety car or something major happens like we saw in Russia, then something certainly can happen. But cutting ahead to lap 14 at the moment, start of lap 15, my teammate Nico Hulkenberg has come into pits. So have another 2 drivers, Lewis Hamilton, and not too sure who this other one is. It looks like it could be a Manor, which it is, Pascal Wehrlein, who we're going to go right up the back of the gearbox of Pascal Wehrlein as we go into turn 3, and he brake checks us into turn 3. What on earth was Pascal Wehrlein thinking of doing through there? I was absolutely furious when actually doing this race of Pascal Wehrlein brake checking me out of turn 3. I do not know why the AI driver decided that he's going to go flat out of turn 2. For some reason, brake massively into turn 3, which is just a sort of lift off and then flat out corner. I don't know what was going on there, and it was really frustrating. We were on for an okay race. Yes, we weren't going to get an amazing result, but we were still on for a race, and now I feel like I'm not going to be racing anybody at all. It's kind of like what happened in Season 1 with Danny Kvyat when I went into the back of him and pretty much ruined my races. We've got, looks like, Lewis Hamilton on the rear of us with Williams, I think, of Valtteri Bottas as well. Going down in towards the hairpin. He's gone up the inside, similar to what Esteban Gutierrez has done. Unfortunately, we can't do the switchback move on him because Valtteri Bottas was right behind us, and there goes Lewis Hamilton up into the position. P18, I believe it is in this race. No, P17, and we're in P18. It's not Valtteri Bottas behind us, it's actually Felipe Massa who is on our tail battling for P18 at the moment, locking up in towards the left-hander of the chicane and coming into pits once again on lap 15 in this race. This time, though, going onto the hard tyres all the way to the end of the race. Try and make sure that these tyres last. We just about get the car slowed down for the line. Coming to pits now for our second pit stop in this race. We're going to have to get a new front wing, so it is going to be a slow pit stop, as it looks like the Sauber of, I think that is Marcus Ericsson, is also coming into the pits in this race. A very, very slow pit stop here from the Force India team. You know, we are getting a new front wing, so it is expected, but it is a little bit disappointing to lose out so much time. Looks like there's the other Sauber, Felipe Nasr, going down the start-finish straight at the moment. He's going to jump both me, and is he going to get Marcus Ericsson? No, he's not. He's going to come out behind Marcus Ericsson. And here we are coming out of the pits behind Felipe Nasr, I believe right at the back of the field in 22nd position. So not a good race for us at all in the Spanish Grand Prix. Once again at the back of the field. But going round turn 3 at the moment. And we are right behind Marcus Ericsson on lap 20 in this race. Can we do anything? Can we get P22 in this race? A very, very exciting battle right at the back of the grid. This is for big points position. Lap for 21st position. There we go, up the inside. And that's a fantastic move on Marcus Ericsson. But he tries to hold it around the outside. Good. To be fair to him, that is a good move there from Marcus Ericsson. Hold it around the outside. We lose the back end through the chicane. A little bit of contact with Marcus Ericsson, but he has the inside line, so he is going to get position. Not exactly the most exciting of battles, being right down the back of the field, but at least we are batting with someone unlike Season 1 and, well, Season 2. We kind of had very, very boring races at this circuit. So through the left-hander and then the right, coming towards the end of lap 20. You're going to be starting lap 21 soon. Looks like Felipe Nasr is quite a way up the road at the moment because he is on soft tyres right now. Marcus Ericsson is on hard, so that's why we're sort of in a battle with him right now. But still very much behind Marcus Ericsson, losing a lot of time through the final corners. We run down in towards turn 1. We do have DRS on the Sauber driver, currently running in standard mix because we do need to watch out for our fuel, so we can't go in rich mix at the moment. So down in towards turn 1. Are we going to have enough straight line speed to get the move? Yes, we have. Up the inside of Marcus Ericsson. A great move down in towards turn 1. And surely this time around we have got position from Marcus Ericsson. Hopefully we can hold on to P21 and maybe even possibly get P20 from Felipe Nasr. If anything else happens in this race, then we can certainly try and push for more positions, as we're on board with Carlos Sainz right now as home Grand Prix, going down in towards turn 1. Just come out of the pits and ahead of Jolyon Palmer in this race. I believe he's in second place at the moment. No, he's not anymore. His engine has gone. Maybe this career mode is scripted because he was so far out in front of the championship. I guess the game has decided, no, you cannot have a 30-point lead, and he is out of the race. And that brings out the safety car as well, which could definitely help us in this race. We're ahead of Marcus Ericsson at the moment. We need to slow down for the pit lane limiter, but this could certainly help us out in this race. We can catch up to the back of the pack and possibly get a points position here today if there's a couple of guys coming into the pits. And here we are cutting ahead to lap 25. 8 laps left to go in this race, catching up to the back of the safety car queue. Can we do anything to get past these guys and possibly get a points position here today, coming through the final couple of corners? It's green flag, the safety car is in, and the race is restarted. Danica Kvyat currently leading the race, Roman Grosjean ahead of us in 18th position. Can we do anything to get past the Haas driver down in towards turn 1? I don't think so at the moment, just not close enough to get a move on Roman Grosjean. And unless we can do anything in towards turn 4, I don't think we're going to get the jump on Roman Grosjean down towards the next couple of corners. He's just maybe a bit too quick for us at the end of the day, and I don't think it's going to be possible to get past Roman Grosjean. Unfortunately, we're just not quick enough around the Spanish Grand Prix, and that's something that I need to improve myself before next season, as we're cutting ahead to the final lap of the race. Esteban Gutierrez and Valtteri Bottas have both come into the pits for a set of soft tyres towards the end of this race, and they are putting in some really, really decent laps compared to us. He's now right on our tail as we start the final lap of the race. Can Esteban Gutierrez do anything to get past us in this race? It's not battling for any points here, it's just battling for position and a bit of dignity as well. Going down in towards turn 4, Esteban Gutierrez very much on our tail. We need to make sure that we don't make any mistakes, hit every single apex perfectly. We don't have to have the fastest of lines, but as long as we hit every apex, don't give him any room like that down towards turn 5, maybe leaving the door half open there for Esteban Gutierrez. But as long as we don't do that, then I reckon we can hold on to this position from the Haas driver. Going through the left, then the right, before the fast right-hander, before the second DRS zone, losing the back end just a little bit as we go through this right-hander. Esteban Gutierrez right on our tail at the moment. He will have DRS down in towards the hairpin, going to the outside this time around. We're deciding to have the inside line against the Haas driver side by side at the moment with Esteban Gutierrez, getting the job done on him. Looks like he's actually been overtaken by Valtteri Bottas as well. Couple of corners left to go. Valtteri Bottas does still have the chance to get past us in this race, coming into this right hand, and now take a lot of curb there, but luckily not sending the car into the air. Danny Kvyat is today's race winner, so a great result for him, and that's certainly going to help him out in the championship, catching up to Carlos Sainz. We're going to come around the final corner now to finish this very, very disappointing race here in Spain and get a pretty abysmal 16th position here today. Not the best of results, but we'll be looking to do better next time around at the Monaco Grand Prix. A poor race for us here today at the Spanish Grand Prix. Not a decent result, and that just goes to prove that the Spanish Grand Prix is definitely not a circuit that suits my drive, and I'm just really struggling around the circuit. I need to pick it up before Season 4. But Danny Kvyat is today's race winner, getting the 25 points over his teammate who did not finish, and that's certainly going to help him out in the championship. Sebastian Vettel, he finished in second with Jolyon Palmer in third, Kimi Raikkonen in fourth, and Lewis Hamilton in fifth. Max Verstappen finishes in sixth, with Kevin Magnussen, another championship contender, down in seventh position, not having the best of races and only getting 6 points. He had a good chance to capitalise on Carlos Sainz after DNFing here today, and unfortunately does not do that. Nico Rosberg finishes in 8th place, with Pascal Wehrlein in 9th, and Daniel Ricciardo gets the final World Championship point. Looking further down the field, and there we are in 16th position. Not the best of races for us here today. Maybe we should have gone for the one-stop strategy, starting on the hards and pitting for the mediums towards the end. But unfortunately, I just did not want to use those hards, which we had to do at the end of the day. And they weren't actually too bad, so maybe it was just on the Renault that we really struggled with. Already DNF of today was Carlos Sainz and Felipe Nasr, the only guy to make 3 stops in this race. Let's have a look, though, at how this affects the drivers' standings. And in the driver's standings, our position does not change. We stay in 5th position, 12 points behind Lewis Hamilton now, and 16 points behind Kevin Magnussen. Sebastian Vettel has closed up the gap, so it's 6 points between us two, with Kimi Raikkonen also a chance to get us as well. 9 points between myself and him, and Nico Rosberg 10 points behind me. Jolyon Palmer finally getting some points on the board, and he is also closing up to me as well. Carlos Sainz, who leads the championship still, but only by 5 points to his teammate Danny Kvyat, so it's very close between those two as we head into the Monaco Grand Prix. In the Constructors, and unfortunately we have dropped down a position into 5th. Nico Hülkenberg not scoring any points here today, and neither did myself, so for that allowed Ferrari to overtake us in the Constructors Championship, and not only overtake us, but actually get quite a lot of points over us as well. Red Bull Racing also closing up the gap, so we do need to be aware of those guys. It's very close at the moment between Mercedes and Renault, 82 to 81 points, so very close between those two, whereas Toro Rosso are just running away with the championship at this stage. But that is it for today's Spanish Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. Looking at the second rivalry update against Danny Kvyat, and he has won it. He has won it after 2 races of being my rival, which is really disappointing to lose out to the Toro Rosso driver after only 2 races. Surely we could have put up a better fight than getting only 8 points against him. Little bit disappointing there, but we do have enough resource points to upgrade the chassis weight on our car and upgrade the engine cover, which we are going to do. We're going to upgrade that to help us with acceleration out of the corners. We could have upgraded the downforce on the car and saved up for that, but I think we're going to upgrade the chassis weight now, and the next upgrade we'll make will be the chassis weight, and then we'll start to think about maybe the engine power and try and get some straight line speed, because in Season 2 with Renault, we were so quick in a straight line. I do miss that, just being able to get drivers very easy in a straight line. I missed that here today on the overtakes on like Marcus Ericsson, which was a struggle down towards turn 1, and Roman Grosjean as well. I possibly could have got him and possibly could have got more positions at the start of the race. But that's it for today's Spanish Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed the episode, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here. And I'll see you next time at the Monaco Grand Prix, the big one, the jewel on the F1 calendar. But until then, it's goodbye from me.